Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, wherever you are in the world. And welcome back to This and That with Navlet. And today we are going to look at a very disturbing story. If you are a queasy type of person, please switch off now. Thank you.
Okay, so just going off of my last video, this is not part one. This is just a brief synopsis of everything that's transpired since I was sexually Vixen plastic surgery in Miami, Florida. I'm begging any female that this has also happened to, if you've gone to the hospital, if you made a police report, if you had a rape kit performed, please private message me, please DM me, please let me know about your experience, because Miami Police Department is blocking this. So I went to go have surgery September 2025 at Vixen Plastic Surgery. I have proof of all of this. I've documented every phone call, every text message between me and the detectives, every email between me and the detectives, every email between me and my surgeon. I have proof of everything. I video recorded them performing the rape kit. I video recorded every single phone call in case the detectives, Detective Jasmine Diaz, Cortelia Jasnia, I think that's how you pronounce her name, Sergeant Cortelia, Lieutenant Matt Reyes. If any of them want to lie and say that this did not, I recorded every single thing because they were investigating. Up to 4 days ago, the Miami Police Department was investigating under, and they decided to close out the investigation. Even though the rape kit came back positive and they found semen in my cervix less than 4 hours after I had came out of surgery. I experienced so much sexual trauma to my throat that the hospital, well, not the hospital, Vixen Plastic Surgery, if you ever had your cosmetic procedure done there, you know it's not a hospital, it's an actual building. It's like doctor's offices, and you actually have your surgery performed in the doctor's office. That was the first red flag. But when they released me, I was still under anesthesia, which is against the law. Anything could have happened to me. I was still under anesthesia. They refused to let my wife enter the building. She had to wait for me outside for them to bring me downstairs in a wheelchair. I woke up to them pulling on the straps of my faja. These two little short Hispanic ladies pulling on the straps of my faja and just violently throwing me in the wheelchair and rolling me out the building to my wife. I felt like when I came to, as they were putting me in the wheelchair, I literally immediately started crying because I felt like I had been pushed off the top of a building, and my private areas hurted, excruciating pain in my private areas, which was odd to me because I didn't have any cosmetic surgery below the waist. I didn't have a BBL. I went in there for 360 liposuction in the breast lift, but I ended up just getting a 360 lipo, and nothing was below the waist. And I remember trying to tell the ladies, hey, stop, hold on. I remember trying to articulate that how much pain I was in. And I flipped out mentally because I could not speak. And every time I went to speak, it felt like I was going to swallow a piece of my neck. Every time I went to speak, it felt like I was going to swallow a piece of my neck, and I was in excruciating pain. I later found out that that piece of meat that I felt like I kept feeling like I was going to swallow every time I spoke was my uvula, which had been partially detached due to the sexual trauma I experienced in my throat. I had to have my uvula removed literally less than 72 hours after going under one surgery. I had to go into another surgery due to the sexual trauma I experienced under that first surgery at Vixen Plastic Surgery. They wrote me out. My wife put me in the car because she didn't know what else to do. She took me back to the Airbnb. 4 hours. It took me 4 hours to fully come out of anesthesia. It took me 4 hours. 4 hours after I came off of anesthesia, I went to Jackson Memorial Hospital in Miami. I have proof of all of this. Roxy Bolton, Miami Police Department took the rape kit from Roxy Bolton Rape Center and refused to let Roxy Bolton Rape Center give me a copy of my rape kit. I've never heard of this. Miami Police Department stated on recorded video that they had a testing center within the police department, and that's where my rape kit was and was going to stay until the end of the investigation. They refused to give me a copy of the positive rape kit. They kept telling me, oh, don't let the doctor know that you reported him or that you have a positive rape kit, because he can try to leave the country. He can start maneuvering to protect himself if he knows that you know. They told me that in less than 3 days after they told me not to say anything, they went and told my doctor, Dr. Valadares, that he was being investigated for a sexual battery, which shocked me. They kept telling me not to hire an attorney. They kept telling me, all of this is recorded. They kept telling me not to hire an attorney. They kept telling me not to say anything to the doctors. They kept telling me not to say anything to anyone because it could be, it could impede on the investigation. Like a dummy, me expecting the justice system to actually to get me justice. I followed their instructions. I didn't reach out to anybody. I didn't say anything to the surgeon, all for them to go behind my back and do it themselves. They decided to close out my case, and they told me that I would not be able to get a copy of the investigation file until a month from now. So the end of May or beginning of June, I won't be able to even know what they put in my file, and that's why I'm so happy I documented everything. But I'm bringing awareness to this because I sat around for the better half of 7 months waiting on the Miami Police Department to do their job and to get me justice, and putting my hope in this corrupt justice system and these corrupt cops in the Special Victims Unit at the Miami Police Department. So now I'm coming to TikTok praying that the algorithm do what it needs to do, like that the algorithm gets this to the right people. Please repost this video as many times as you can. Please, like, bring awareness to this. Please, like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. If any woman has experienced sexual trauma or sexual assault at the hands of Vixen Plastic Surgery, please connect with me. Please tell me your story. Like, as many people come forward, hopefully we can, like, get justice for not only myself, but the girls who came before me, and any girl that might come after me, because the fact that you were bold enough to climb on top of me and not use protection while I was under anesthesia, I'm sorry. The fact that you were bold enough to climb on top of me and not use protection, so much to the fact that they found semen in my cervix, and I had to have my uvula removed due to the trauma that happened to my throat, that the doctor said that my airway was so inflamed that it was the size of a shoelace. The fact that you were bold enough to do that to me while I was unconscious lets me know that I'm not the first female that this has happened to, and I won't be the last. So if you guys have anybody out there who has had surgery at Vixen Plastic Surgery and has experienced sexual trauma or anything along them lines, please reach out to me. I will go into detail into a multi-part series on my personal experience, from checking in to them strapping me down to this like torture type table. They strapped me down like this, to waking up from surgery, to getting back to my Airbnb and coming out of anesthesia, to going to the hospital and everything I experienced at the hospital, to getting a call at the end of October telling me that the rape kit came back positive. Everything. I will go into detail about everything, to the doctor, to my surgeon trying to convince me to come back to his office so that he can touch me more. I have screenshots, recordings, everything of all of this. You guys, please help me. So, this is part 1, guys, and I know a lot of people have a lot of questions. I myself personally have a lot of questions. I'm just gonna, I did the 2 previous videos. As you guys can see, I don't really post like that. I'm not a big social media girl, but I know what the effects that social media have, and I'm just hoping that some type of justice can be had. Some type of justice can be had. When I did the put your finger down video, I just did that as like an attention grabber to like move traffic to my page so I can tell my story, but please in no way, shape, form, or fashion think this is a game or I take it lightly or anything like that. This is not okay. And I'm just now sharing after 7 months because the Miami Police Department just kept telling me, well, if you do anything, if you say anything, it's going to impede on our investigation. It's going to mess up the investigation. And I believed them like a dummy, like an idiot. I believed them. And I'm just going to, share as many facts as I can. Mind you guys, this happened in September of 2025. This happened in September of 2025. Babe, do you mind giving me that phone? This happened September 2025. Actually, it happened September 16th. And also, can you hand me those papers right there? So, and I was notified. I want to make sure I have all the dates right for you guys. I was notified. So September 16th, I had my surgery. That night, after I woke up out of anesthesia, I was in the hospital. Like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't eat. Even drinking water hurt like hell. Like, that's how inflamed my throat was. That's how much damage had occurred to my throat. And then it was, and Detective Diaz had reached out to me October 22nd. I remember because it was October 29th. I remember because it was the Wednesday before Halloween, as you guys can see. I just got my bachelor's degree and I was in class, and that's why I remember the date, because she called me while I was in class. I had to step out of lecture and go to the restroom, and she was like, "Oh, okay, I'll just call you back." So I'm thinking nothing of it, and she didn't want to tell me while I was in class because my reaction to anyone's reaction to find out that they had unconscious, like, she didn't want me to flip out like that in class. So I called her back after the lecture was over, and that's when she broke the news to me. I flipped out, and she said that they were going to start the investigation. But so September 16th, it was like a lot of ripping and running. Mind you, this is my wife, Jay. I don't know if you want to say hey. That's my wife, Jay. She was with me during the whole getting ready for the surgery and everything. Mind you, they allowed her to come into the building the whole time. You had to go through pre-ops. You had to meet with the surgeon. It's like so many loops and like avenues you have to navigate prior to having surgery. You have to do all this testing, everything. You have to sustain from sex. You can't smoke. It's so much that they have to do to make sure you're healthy enough to have a cosmetic procedure. This is not my first cosmetic procedure, so I was prepared to, do everything. So they let her come into the building, which we thought was so weird, because when they brought me out of the building, after the surgery and they brought me out of the building, they told her she can't come in. And I was still unconscious. I was still under anesthesia. The only reason I woke up a little bit is because how roughly they were handling me to get me downstairs, into the elevator downstairs and into the car. And I vaguely remember being awake for like 2-3 minutes. But prior to my surgery, this is the 15th, September 15th, I had to meet with Dr. Valadares, and I was like one of the last patients. It was a lady, the sweetest person I've ever met. Her name is Miss Tawana, and I can tag her as well. But me and her were the last two patients. We ended up becoming friends, and I'm a yapper. I make friends wherever I go. I'm such a girl's girl. I'm such a hippie at heart. I make friends wherever I go. And me and Miss Tawana, being the last people in the waiting room, we ended up chit-chatting and becoming friends. But me and her were the last two. She was seen before me. I was the last person to go back and be seen. And this is when he makes you get undressed, and he just tells you everything that he's going to do for tomorrow. So I'm talking to him. We go into his office. He tells me to get undressed. So I oblige. I put on the little blue, it's like paper, but it's like, what are they called? The hospital gowns. But it was a short paper made hospital gown. I put that on. I go into his office, and like I said, I was there for lipo 360 and the breast lift. So I had off my bra because I knew he had to examine my boobs for the breast lift, but I left on my underwear. I wasn't having a BBL. I was having lipo 360 and in the breast lift. When I got into his office, he noticed I still had on my underwear. He said, "Those have to come off." I said, "Excuse me?" He said, "Take off your underwear." And I looked at the nurse behind me, like, I was just looking, I don't know, it's like fight or flight. And so I looked back at her like, I don't know what to do, like, to see if it was okay. And she looked down at the floor like this. She immediately looked down at the floor. She avoided eye contact with me. So I was just like, I'm not having a BBL. And he was like, "Well, I still need you to take off your underwear." And so I immediately started crying. I started crying and I started shaking, and I'm standing there like this, and I go to remove my underwear, and he was like, "Wait, he goes like this. He says, "Wait, you're making me feel like I'm doing something wrong." First red flag, just his choice of words. He was like, "You're making me feel like I'm doing something wrong." And I was like, I'm really uncomfortable. I don't like, I'm married. You get what I'm saying? I'm really uncomfortable. I don't want to expose my vagina to you you're a grown man. Like, I don't want to expose my vagina to you if I don't have to. And he was like, "Oh, okay, well, you can leave him on, but roll him down." And this is what he made me do, guys. I'm going to stand up to show you guys. So just imagine me. I'm standing in front of this guy. I don't have this on. I don't have on the top. I'm just going to tuck it under my bra. He made me, I'm not going to expose myself to the camera, but he made me pull my underwear down to here. So right before, if I was to open my legs, you guys will see my flower. He made me pull my underwear down to here to show him, like, I guess my hips. It didn't make sense to me. It didn't make sense to me. Having me expose the top half of my vagina, it was completely unnecessary. It did not make sense. So he made me pull down my underwear, and he marked my stomach, and he was looking at my stomach and telling me, like, how the lipo was going to go and where he was going to take the fat and stuff from. So that happened, and we just talked, and he just made sure he cleared me for the liposuction. When coming to the breast lift, he kept trying to encourage me to get implants. I told him I didn't want any implants, and then he started explaining all the medical and like, I guess, like, surgical terminology about getting implants, and we just decided to not move forward with the breast lift because we was like, okay, we're just going to do the lipo 360, and if I decide to get my breast done again after how this surgery goes, I'll come back and do the breast lift, implants, whatever. That was the night before. And he just really made me uncomfortable. And what I took away from that night is not only how pushy he was and the fact that he made me expose my vagina to him, but also when he went into his phone to take pictures of my body, the before pictures, it was nothing but naked photos of previous women. Nothing but, and I was like, why save these? But he had nothing but a lot of naked photos of previous women that he, I guess, did surgery on. This is about to wrap up, so I'll go into detail about the leading up into the surgery. As you guys can imagine, this is a very, like, tough and traumatic situation to have to keep living, but I have to tell my story. I have to bring awareness to this. Something has to happen. So but I do value mental health. So this is the last video I'm going to make today, but I promise you guys, I see your comments, I see you reposting, I see you guys doing everything within your power to try to help me get my story out there, and I greatly appreciate it. Like, thank you so much. I'm going to try to get through, this is going to be the last video I make today just for, like, my mental health. But I promise you guys, I'm not going to leave you in the dark. I'm going to tell it completely to all the way up to 4 days ago.
when she contacted me and told me that they were going to close out the investigation. And I'm also going to play the videos, and I'm going to show text messages, and I'm going to show proof of everything. I'm going to keep you guys in the loop every step of the way. But yeah. So everything kind of went black again after I couldn't speak. And I just remember, I think I woke up, I was like I was fighting the anesthesia so hard that when we got to the bottom floor of, isn't his office like on the 8th floor? I think they're on like the 8th floor. I don't quite remember. But when we got to the lobby of the building, in the elevator, like ding, it kind of like jotted me up, and I immediately just started crying. I saw my wife, and as soon as I saw her, I just burst out in tears. And I started crying because it's just like, I felt a little bit safe. Does that make sense? Like I saw her and I felt safe again. And so I just started crying. And I remember her asking the two ladies that wrote me out, she was like, what's wrong with her? Why is she crying? And they was like, oh, she, she's okay. She's okay. And then one of them took my robe and like did this to my face, and she was like, oh, you okay? And she started rubbing my shoulder. She was like, you okay? You okay? And they helped her get me in the car, or I don't remember. They helped you get me in the car. So my wife had the car pulled up at the door, and I was thinking it was so weird that she wasn't in the building. And it wasn't until I woke up from anesthesia that she notified me that they would not allow her to come in the building. They basically was like, stay outside, and she thought that was weird. And then they also told my wife, when she dropped me off for surgery, they told her, they said, oh, we'll let you know an hour or 30 minutes. Which one was it?
I think it was about either one, honestly.
Yeah, they said, we'll let you know 30 minutes to an hour after she's been released out of surgery so you can come pick her up. They called her literally as they was discharging me. She, literally, the Airbnb was 4 or 5 minutes away from, 10 minutes tops away from the surgical office. And I'll put the Airbnb we stayed at, all of that. They literally called her as they were discharging me, like, you need to come get her now. So she didn't get the 30-minute to an hour grace period. All of these were red flags, but the damage had been done by then. So they helped her get me in the car, and I pass out again because I'm still under anesthesia. They're not even, anything could have happened to me. They weren't even supposed to discharge me while I was still under anesthesia, but I'm in and out. So, all I remember after they help her get me in the car, I'm still crying, but I pass out again. We get to the Airbnb, and now it's my wife waking me up, and this was like so painful because she didn't have the wheelchair to help me get in the building. She had to go get one of the little bellhop carts. And she was just like, wait right here, because she tried to get me to walk. But when she seen how bad how much pain I was in and how I kept crying, she went and got one of the little bellhop carts, and she pulled it to the door, and she was like, babe, I'm going to help you stand up, but I need you to stand up and sit down on this cart. So she was holding on to me. She grabbed me, she scooped me behind me, and I was holding on to her shoulders, and I just remember her propping my back up against the little pole thing and helping me onto the cart to get me into the elevator and get me up to the Airbnb. It was like an Airbnb type hotel, or it was I don't know. Apartments. What was the name of it again? It should be in our email, but I'll give you guys all of that. I'll show proof of all of that. But she helped me get upstairs. And she helped me get into bed, and she just propped up pillows and put down the little medical the little mat thingies. And she helped me get into bed. And 4 hours later, I woke up. And I woke up and I was trying to call her name. I was trying to say Jay, but all I could do was grunt and stuff. And she jumped up. And I remember saying, I asked her, she gave me some water or something. I was like, I need something to drink. And she gave me a cup of water, and I went to drink it, and it felt like I was swallowing a chunk of meat. And that didn't make sense to me because I hadn't eaten prior to surgery. You can't eat. Like, I think they tell you not to eat anything after 10 p.m. the night before, or 12 p.m. the night before. So I hadn't eaten anything, and it felt like I was swallowing a chunk of meat, and it hurted like hell. And I immediately started crying. I winced and I almost dropped the cup, and she grabbed the cup and she sat it down, and I was like, I need to go to the hospital. What pisses me off is that when I woke up, I was literally covered from, because they got incisions under my breast where they did liposuction. I have 2 incisions here. I have 4 incisions in my back. And I have 1 incision in the top of my back. And I have 2 incisions here. What pissed me off is I was covered from, like, literally from chest to, like, the whole faja, which you guys can see in the video prior, like 2 videos prior to this, was covered in blood. And I was like, I need to go to the hospital. I just remember saying hospital. I think I was trying to say I need to go to the hospital, and I just said hospital. She didn't ask any questions. She grabbed my robe. She put my robe on me over the bloody faja, and she helped me get to the car, and she was taking me to Jackson Memorial Hospital. And I also put that pictures of that in there so you guys can see, like, the admin date and the checkout date on the Roxy Bolton Rape Center paperwork. I put pictures of that in there, and I put Jackson Memorial Hospital pictures in there where you guys can see my first and my last name, when I was admitted, and when Roxy Bolton signed off on the rape kit. But we get to the so she immediately goes to take me to the hospital, and as you guys can see in the video, like 2 videos prior to this, you guys seen my uvula, how it was swollen and just hanging down. So the sexual trauma to my throat was so bad that it partially detached my uvula. And I think what hurts the most is that not only was it supposed to be a tube in my mouth to keep me breathing during surgery, you sick bitches removed the tube from my mouth, sexually assaulted me. I could have died. I'm somebody's mom. I'm somebody's friend. I'm somebody's daughter. Like, I have a life. I have a family. And you climbed on top of me and sexually assaulted me as if I was trash. You climbed up top of me and did your business as if I was a fucking toilet. I could have died. And nobody cares. And you did this. And you went about your life and your day as if you just didn't do this to an actual human. I am a human. I would never think about doing no shit like that to anybody. And the women who stood back and let that happen to me, you're sick.
This is the YouTube page of the surgery she spoke about. Elegance, I'm so sorry that this happened to you. Ladies, please do your research before you go and allow such people to touch your bodies. You have one body, and as Elegance said, she could have died because they had removed the tube that was supposed to help her to breathe, to enable what happened to her to happen to her. I cannot believe that there are people like this in our world. I personally don't believe in surgery, but for those of you who do believe in surgery and going to see doctors, please take time to do your surgery. Even speak to some of the previous patients if you can, before you go in and see a so-called doctor that you see on Instagram or TikTok or the likes. Please.
At 3 months, that's your final aesthetic result. So that's when all the cells have declared whether or not they're going to survive. It's not a thing where really, if you sit for a minute or two and get up, that you just messed everything up. It's prolonged sitting or sleeping on the buttock or hips. But if you slept on one hip and not the other, you'll have two totally different hips. Because how do fat cells survive is nutrients, and how does nutrients get there is blood supply. And so increased pressure outside, less blood supply to that area, you lose more fat cells in that area. So sometimes you'll see a more boxy kind of squared off bottom where the pressure points are.
That was a video of the monster calling himself a surgeon and a medical professional. As I said before, guys, before you go and get any of these people touching your body, please do your research. Speak to previous patients. Ask them the uncomfortable questions before you allow these people to put you under and do these things to you while you have no idea that this is what these people are about. That is where I'm going to leave it for today. Please do not forget to like. Please do not forget to share, because sharing is caring. Please do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I'm uploading again. And comment. I do like to read your comments. Have a blessed day. Mwah!